So what's up?
What's up?
Love
What's
Wins by the Steward. This is our first podcast episode.
Yeah.
And just to introduce myself, I'm B Level. This is my lovely wife. Do you have a stage name?
Do I have a stage name? Let's just go with Netta.
Netta. So
Go with Netta.
Love Wins
That's safe.
by the Steward. The two hosts is B Level and Netta.
Hey, y'all. Hello.
So you've got my inbox and all my social media jumping because everybody wants to know that we've been talking about this first episode that we coming out with a tell-all about our business, about our marriage, about our infidelity, about all this messing around and doing all this, and we about to break up, and I pray for you, man, and all this shucking and jiving we doing.
Yeah, shucking and jiving. That's what it is. Shucking and jiving. I'm ready.
You know, so
my inbox hadn't been as heavy as yours, but anticipation.
Well, people like you about to lose your wife, man.
Anticipation.
People like you about to lose your wife.
Yeah, they hating.
Hey, I don't know.
Good
But
catch.
I will start by saying the purpose again for us doing this relationship podcast is we think that too much is given, much is required.
Absolutely.
And God has used us and he has blessed us to come away from some really big things in our marriage. And it has strengthened our marriage, would you say?
Absolutely.
That we're stronger because of it.
Yeah.
But we had to go through a lot of bumps, a lot of bruises. We made a lot of mistakes. This year we will be married 7 years.
7 years.
And something about the Bible about the 7.
That's the number of completion?
Something about the 7. I ain't
think
gonna
it's-
be
I
quoting
think
Bible
7.
quotes that I don't know.
I think 7 is the number of completion in the Bible. Somebody look that up for us and let us know for sure.
And so
But
we're
I think
just getting to a point where we're completing the first part of our marriage.
Absolutely. I believe so.
And so we said that we would start off our first episode by putting our imperfections, our infidelity out there to be able to be a host that people respect and know that our marriage has been through bumps and it has been tried, it's been shaken, it's been turned over. There were times
like a margarita, a martini.
Yeah.
Stirred, shaken, frozen.
There were times that you really didn't like being married to me.
Yes.
I don't know if there were times that I didn't like being married to you, but there were times that I didn't like you. You know, there were times that I thought, you know, what the hell did I get myself involved in?
Oh, that was the question?
Yeah, I mean, there were times that I thought, man, what the hell have I got myself involved in?
Yeah.
But before we start into our meat and potatoes of our podcast,
Yeah, this is just this is the appetizer. This is like the spinach and artichoke dip and the buffalo wings. This is the appetizer.
So let's go over our email real quick before we start.
Yes.
You can email your questions that you want us to answer. Give them the email back.
So the email address is stewart.lovewins@gmail.com. And again, you can use that for if you want to advertise. If you'd like to advertise on the podcast, we do advertising. Also, if you have any content that you would like for us to discuss, we can ask questions there. If there's something you hear us discuss on the podcast you want us to further expound on, we'll do that for you. We want a live, kind of clear, transparency Q&A. So use the email address stewart.lovewins@gmail.com.
And shout out to Q Note who's helping us produce our show. We haven't gotten it together, the video aspect, the audio aspect. So shout out to my guy Q Note. He keeping us sounding good and making sure you can hear us and see us. Okay, so we've taken care of the business. So what do we want to talk about? So we have both had some imperfections or some entanglements in our relationship, and we're not the Smiths.
The word of the week.
Yeah, entanglement.
Entanglement.
We've done some damn cheating.
Okay, let me just say this for the record, because so I don't want to go into this thing, and I don't want you guys to beat my husband up, because I think the thought or the perception is the infidelity have just came on his part, right? So I want to be very honest in that. So no, it was not just from him. I had some moments of infidelity as well. So You guys did not know that. But yes, so that's why we want to kind of talk about this openly so you can understand where we are and not necessarily just kind of make your own perception or have your own thought, basically.
And so let me say this. This was very humbling for me. Being a man, hearing that your wife has had her infidelity and has stepped out. No man wants, and I'm being kind of a male chauvinist, right?
Sexist.
A sexist. No man want to hear, his wife being. It's almost like men think that women are made for it better than we are, and that's not true.
So tell me, what's the difference?
It's not.
That's a
myth.
That's a huge thing that I always hear men say. If my woman
Y'all made for it.
No, if my woman cheat on me, I can't come back from that because I'm imagining her with someone else.
Yes.
Do you guys not think that women has the same thought process? Do you not think that we say in return, I can imagine you being with someone else as well? So what makes the two different? Why is it so difficult for men?
It's not a difference. I think in our minds, we think that women are stronger naturally to deal with things like that because typically in a relationship, most of the time, the man is doing all of the cheating and the woman is being, the obedient, nice woman that stays at the house and bakes the cookies and she never gets down wrong. So that there's no difference. Let me just tell you that there is no difference. And
right.
I made the mistake early in our marriage by thinking that I was doing my dirt, but you couldn't go out and do your dirt. And that's not fair to you. So I'll be a man and I'll say, hey, I screwed this thing up. I think early on, I took for granted, I'm going to start off saying my part. I took for granted our marriage, my vows, the promise that I made to you, the promise that I made before God. And I took that for granted. I didn't consider your feelings. I was so caught up in being out, making a way for my family financially, and not taking care of home. You felt aborted. You felt like I wasn't showing you any love. Got involved into a fling. I guess I can call it a fling because it was with.
Let me stop there. So, would it be valid? Would it be safe to say that because you thought that you were providing financially, it was okay for you to have moments of infidelity? Did you? I think because what I assumed is that when those things happening, I think that you thought that because you were paying the bills
right.
and doing the likes of buying me the things that I want,
right.
or I needed or did not need, or the kids or whatever. I thought that was just a pattern for you. I felt like that was probably your reason for doing it in your previous relationships.
Yeah, cheating has always been easy for me. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So cheating has always been easy for you, but the reason I think that from a woman's perspective, from anybody that has dated you and or being married to you, I think because you financially compensated them in some type of way, not solicitate them.
Right.
But I think because you financially compensated them, it was okay for them. But you didn't understand that there was nothing that you could have given me or bought for me that was going to make me be okay with your infidelities, because I had everything that you had probably given other people. I'd already had those things before. So I didn't need you buying me a new car or purse or shoes. I didn't need that to pass me by, basically. But I think that's just my opinion. I think it came from previous.
And in the past, it's always been, I cheated because I could, because I felt like no, I mean that, if we're being truthful, it's like I felt like that I was in a relationship that basically controlled. And so that bad behavior kind of rolled over into our marriage.
Yeah.
Which it was unacceptable.
I agree.
To bring bad habits of in the past I could basically do what I basically wanted to do, and I carried on that behavior from the rip.
Oh yeah.
And I set myself up for a bad starting marriage. I set myself up for failure, and I didn't think that you could cheat too. Mm-hmm. And then when I found out that you had cheated, I felt lower than low. I felt like, God, you know, how could she do this to me? How could she do this to us? I played the victim.
Yes.
I played the victim and didn't think about how I made you feel. Mm-hmm. Embarrassed about it. Mm-hmm. You know, thought to myself, well, damn, I'm less than a man that if I let her come back from that, because I'm pretty sure that I've been cheated on in the past. Mm-hmm. But it was, it broke us up. You know, I broke up with them when they cheated on me. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't have to deal with staying in a relationship by knowing that there was some infidelity and trying to work past that. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody that had cheated on me in the past, I broke up with them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so it took some humbling, mm-hmm. you know, to hear that just like I had made mistakes, you had made mistakes, and I had to accept your mistakes as well as you accepting my mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that took me through, I'm not going to say depression, but that took me through like, damn, you really ain't the man.
Oh, so you were thinking you were the man.
Well, I mean,
and then you're like, oh, I'm really not the man.
I'm really not the man if, you know, this stuff hurts.
Absolutely, it does. Yes.
And I had to bite hard. Mm-hmm. I had to dig deep. I had to forgive, like I was asking you to forgive me. Mm-hmm. I had to really dig deep about what part in this marriage that how I was going to change, how I was going to change my behavior and hold myself accountable to my actions. And, you know, we both talk about, we hear people saying all the time they cheated because their mate was doing things.
Yeah,
you have to accept responsibility that you cheat because you just was a dog. I mean,
yeah, let's be clear. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
You cheated. It had nothing to do with what you were doing. Mm-hmm. It was all on me. Yeah. And vice versa.
That's true.
You deciding to step out had nothing to do with me, but all to do with your actions.
Yeah.
Right?
90% of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was for a man to hear that his girlfriend and his wife have given somebody else the cookies. Lord have mercy. Like just bury me live all over.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like there's not an invaluable thing, whether it be the cookies or whether it's we're gonna use desserts, whether it's the cookies or it's the cookie or it's the ding dong. That's what I'm trying to get to. I don't understand how it is like death. And you know, here's the thing: I've had conversations with male counterparts outside of yourself, of course, family and just the likes of, you know, different people. And I've always heard a man say, and here's what's crazy about it. It's not even that the woman has given the cookies away. It's the woman giving the cookies away and other people know about it.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with just giving it away. I think in the mental space, I think for the relationship, there's a little bit of, you know, you cheated on me. Mm-hmm. But I think when it's publicly known that your woman has given your cookies to somebody else, right, you guys act as if that's death. Because I've heard men say, I cannot come back from that because all I see. And so that's what I'm saying. What is it about that? Because I want you guys to understand, and, you know, what we failed to mention at the beginning and what we've been saying about this podcast is that the material that we're discussing is basically our opinions and the things that we've experienced and what we've been through. So Brian's is going to be from a male perspective. B level. I'm sorry. It's going to be from a male's perspective, and mine is going to be from a woman perspective. And so from a woman perspective, I want you to understand that the same hurt and resentment, and look at myself in the mirror like, dang, you know, am I this woman? Like, am I that chick? Like, that same hurt, resentment, embarrassment, wondering, that same feeling and emotion that you guys have because somebody gave your cookies away. We have the same emotions and feelings because you gave the ding dong away. Like,
Facts.
there is
Facts.
no difference in such. So it just behooves me when I hear men say, I can't come back from that. But when it happens, if they found out a woman has cheated, or they have cheated on their woman, let me correct that. If they have cheated on their partner, it is a beg and plead. It's almost like you guys automatically expect us to forgive. But vice versa, when it happens, there is no forgiveness. That's hard to come back from.
It's unfair.
Yeah, it's almost like 3-1. 3 hours as, you know, with you guys, if you guys cheat, it's kind of like, oh, you know, we forgive you. Oh, we're in love all over again. And then when the woman to do it, it's like we have to beg back our firstborn child. Like, every day I'm begging for forgiveness, and I'm proving these things to you and doing different things. And so we'll go deeper into that later on. But I just wanted to kind of bring that up. Like, understand there is no difference. There is no difference in
I get that.
Giving the ding dong away or giving the cookies away. There is no difference. I think hurt is hurt.
I get that now.
Well, yeah, I think it took a while for you to get there, but yeah.
I get
hurt
there
is hurt.
now, and just being to a place where I didn't know if we were going to get to the other side. I didn't know that I was going to be able to trust you again. I didn't think that you were going to be able to trust me again. You know, in the first, 5 years, 6 years, our marriage went through every possible thing that it could. The devil threw everything that he possibly could toward us for us to not come out on the other side of it.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, it was a beast.
Financial issues, infidelity, bringing our families together, blending families together. We had some family issues. My mom didn't attend our wedding.
She did not.
God
rest her soul. And today is, let me put this out here. Today is my amazing mother-in-law's birthday.
And by the time you guys hear it, it won't be her birthday.
Yes, it will not be her birthday.
What's today's date?
But today's date is July 20th, and it is my. She passed on last year. I'm sure not all of us know, but she passed on last year. Nevertheless, today is her birthday, so in this, we want to tell her happy birthday, and you are definitely missed here. God rest your soul.
Yes.
There's so much that I am going to definitely tell you guys. We may make blending of families or families be our next episode. We'll talk about that later. But if you would definitely hear more about Mama Emma. So keep Mama Emma, keep that name in your book, your memory book, because you will hear about Mama Emma.
She would have been 64 today.
64?
Yeah, and I didn't put up a picture of her as we were talking earlier, just because I didn't want to go through. I'm still mourning from it, and I didn't want to relive a happy birthday, even though my sister Shell and Tanika and Jermaine did it. I just didn't want to go through that.
People grieve differently.
So happy birthday, Mom. I love you. But anyway, let's get back to them. She did attend our wedding, and so blending those families, everything that could have happened to us the first 5 or 6 years did happen. And so how do you think we were able to make it out of that?
I think you and I we have a lot of similar traits. We're similar in a lot of ways, in the ways of our upbringing and our hustle mentality and our children. We're a lot alike in ways. And one thing I do know is, let's be clear, there was some infidelity before the marriage. So I want you guys to know there were signs of infidelity, and there was infidelity before the marriage.
Before we got married.
I still choose to continue on with the marriage because of my love for him. And so I knew that at some point, or I felt, because let me just say this. I don't want y'all to think I'm out here just being a dang fool, because I'm not a dang fool. But I felt like at some point you would come around. You would come around at some point, because some could say, well, how do you know that he loved you but he was cheating on you? I just felt like that was who you were. Just like I felt like when I had my infidelity moments, that was just who I was. That didn't mean that I loved you any less. It just means that,
that's facts.
There were some things that I needed to deal with and go through. It was just some sugar honey iced tea that I needed to kind of deal with and go through. So to answer the question, I think it was just that. Like, I just felt like at some point we're going to be on the other side of this. And I didn't give myself a specific amount of time, because I don't like to put a time on things. And another thing is that I knew I was doing everything that I was supposed to do outside of cheating, but I knew that I was doing, knew that I was doing everything that I was supposed to do as a wife, as a helpmate. Now, some other issue, other little things we'll talk about, we can gladly discuss, that I probably wasn't doing. We wasn't screwing every night. But we're not screwing every night because, I'm working a full-time job and, and dealing with the kids' extracurricular activities and cooking and cleaning. And so those things, so by the time I get in bed at 11:30, we pillow talking for an hour. So those things didn't happen. So it may not have been that, but nevertheless, I knew that I was a super woman.
Right. True.
Like,
Facts.
Those
facts.
are things that could not be taken away from me.
And we won't try. That's facts.
And I do know that, we have talked before. You said that I didn't necessarily need a woman for monetary gain. I didn't need a woman for. There were a lot of things you did need a woman for domestic reasons, because your mom raised you to, know how to cook and clean. And even though you just cook tacos and pork chops, but nevertheless, that's my specialty, guys. Tacos,
that's my ish.
Tacos, hamburgers, and pork chops. Nevertheless. You didn't need a woman for some of the things that you had women for. So I knew that I was a total package. And so I'm going to have so those that's watching this.
And that's why I married you. So let's clear that up.
I had a total package.
Well, I mean, I married you and I decided to be with you, settle down with you, because, I used to need a woman for this. I could never find a woman that had everything that I needed. I had a woman that, could help me keep my stuff straight. I had a mother, a woman for, mother figure for my children, and then this. And when I met you, you had all of the things that I needed, so I didn't need to date multiple women anymore. Yeah. So that's why. That's why I met you. We quickly became close. From the first day we kind of went out, we basically hung out every day. We never left each other's we went to work, but we spent every night with each other from the first day that we went out, because I met you a long time before we went out. And then we just never left your side. Do you feel like that was, we kind of moved in with each other very quickly? We didn't have time to be friends. Do you feel like that played a part in our infidelity, that we didn't tie up our loose ends? And
absolutely,
you felt like we kind of moved very quickly. We put the horse before the carriage. I was in a relationship. You were in a relationship.
I was in a situationship.
You was in an entanglement.
I was in some entanglements.
Okay.
Yes.
So you wasn't in a relationship.
No.
And I basically, cheated on my last girlfriend and started dating you. But from the
I didn't know that at the time, y'all. I'm not a slut bucket.
No. But from the first day that we went out with each other, we never left each other's side,
that's true.
Right?
That's true. Yeah. That's true. I agree that I wasn't in a relationship. I had just gotten a divorce. So I was divorced. I was out here.
Divorced for 2 years?
I think I was divorced, maybe 2 years. Yeah.
Okay.
2 years. So I was out here, what I thought. Let me just say this. After my first divorce, I said I would never marry again.
I question that, because I did see a post that you said within a year you would be married.
You gotta let me tell that.
Okay.
Let me get to that.
I'm stealing your thunder. All right.
Yes. So, after my divorce, I said I was going to never marry again, right? So I moved here with my baby. So we moved here, and I kind of got into Little Rock nightlife. And get into Little Rock nightlife, it was a lot of, who is she? Who is that?
Yeah.
Where's she come from?
You was a new bride on the block.
Yeah, I was a new bride on the block. And so I got a lot of that. So anyway.
High, yellow bone, tall. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, go ahead.
All that, yeah. Nevertheless, so I was in this whole little entanglement. So I was really, really,
really
on some
using
real
that word.
on some real sugar honey iced tea. I was really feeling this one person. I really, even though I had entanglements, I was really feeling this one person. Like I had strong feelings for this guy, and that never could seem to get itself together. So then I did make this post. So I made a post on Facebook that said within a year, which would have been 2013, because I made the post 2012. 2013, I made a post that said within a year,
Right.
I'm going to marry somebody's son, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
So I said that because, again, remember, I was like a year and a half just in this dating pool, and that mess was too much. It was too much. I know what I bring to the table. And let me just say this. In just my regular dating, I wasn't even giving them 100% of Shanetta. Like I was giving them 60, you know what I'm saying? And giving them a little bit of me was, I want to be with you. I want to have something with you. I wasn't trying to do none of that. I was just trying to do my thing. So nevertheless, so I got tired. So that's why I made that post. I made that post because I got tired. I was just like,
Tired
listen,
of dating.
yeah, I got tired. I was like, this is not for me. I'm gonna have to get me somebody and settle down and sit on down. So when you came along, we first met. That I was going through those entanglements, right? So when we first met, we had a couple of conversations, and I think a year passed.
Yeah,
It was a year.
I tried to date you for a year. You wouldn't answer my calls, but you would text me back and say what's up. So I thought you was living with a dude.
Yeah, you did. You told me that.
And I tried for almost a year to get you to hang out with me and go out, and then I got frustrated. And I said, damn her, I'm not going to continue to call her. I'm not going to continue to call her and ask her
How
out.
rude, right? How
And
rude.
you playing this, she got to live with a dude because she never answers the phone, but she always texts back and say, hey, I see that you call. I'm thinking we're answering the phone because but then you didn't.
Guys,
later
I just
find
don't
out
like
that you were
talking on the
texter.
phone. Yeah, I just don't like talking on the phone.
But then when I gave up, you kind of came around. I just finally said, I'm not going to chase her. I'm not going to play the chase guy. I've played it for a year.
Yeah,
I
that's
literally
true.
chased you for a year.
Yeah.
And I just said, I'm tired. And plus, I didn't have to.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, and that's when it's happened. That's when you hung out with me and we never left each other's side and that. So,
it was worth the chase, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 7 years later, yeah, yeah, it was worth it. I didn't know it at that time, but it was worth it. So,
Yeah. So anyway, so let me just say this. So when you and I started dating, like we did a lot of stuff early. In 2013, let me just say this. I called I got what I wanted. And so I called, hey, I was going to marry somebody's son in 2013. I did marry somebody's son in 2013. I married Mama's Emma's son. So Brian and I moved in. We met January, moved in together in June. He proposed in July. We were married in November.
The end of November.
This is all in 2013. So all
1
those
year.
things happened. So I think what happened is we very early on told each other we loved each other very early. I think what took place is we didn't give each other time to dissolve our entanglements.
Right.
Not entanglements, because my entanglements, I had already kind of tapered them off.
But
At the beginning of you, my entanglements were, hey, I'm seeing somebody going on. And then the one guy that I really had the feelings for, it was he and I were kind of on a on again, off again thing. So, but he still existed in my life. He was still part of my life. He was still a lot of my emotions and my feelings and all that. So, my entanglements were tapered off, but this one guy that I really, really was feeling, that was there. You know what I'm saying? So
your feelings for him.
Yeah, the feelings that I had for him was there. So then I felt like, oh, okay, when you and I met, I was like, oh, like this guy here, this guy right
Me.
here. Yeah, you.
Okay.
Like this guy here is going to assist me in ridding some of the emotions and feelings that I have for this other person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did wrong. By feeling like a new love could replace an existing love. Let me just tell you guys, that cannot happen. It does not happen, will not happen.
Yeah.
But that was what my expectations were. My expectations was, I was going to be so overwhelmed and so overcome with joy, emotions, and feelings for you that the love that I had for this other person was going to
away.
eventually fade.
Right.
So I just feel like, let me just say for me, I didn't feel like I handled that right. I didn't handle that in the right way, and I should have. So because I didn't handle that in the right way, he became ever so present in our relationship. He became very, very existing in our relationship, not just physically, but I think emotionally and mentally, because I still had mental and emotional ties to him. So, I just feel like if we had have done that the right way, then
if we had a broke up and been by ourselves and healed our hearts and ended in what we had in the past, we probably could have started on the better leg. But we didn't handle the business. We didn't give ourselves time enough to get out of these situations. You know, I started in a relationship and then started with you, so we didn't really tie up our business, and it drug on into the beginning of our relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that caused us to start off wrong. That started our commitment wrong. That started the not being all the way honest up front, and it just had us starting on the wrong foot, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that.
We moved pretty fast. We fell in love pretty fast. We tried to blend our families. They didn't blend so easily. Meanwhile, we're going through our other issues, financial issues.
Yeah.
Trust issues, because you and I kind of knew early on that we had both been unfaithful to each other.
Right.
So we were dealing with all of this thing, trying to hold it together because we were really fond and loved each other, and we really wanted to make it work, but we didn't start off on the right feet.
True.
On the right foot.
That's true.
What have we learned from this? What can we give our viewers advice on how to not do, because ultimately it has caused us to have trust issues, early on in our marriage. So what advice can we give somebody who's starting a relationship, and not even a marriage, because this podcast is about relationships. It ain't really about marriage. It's about keeping healthy relationships. You said once, if you're tangled in something, get rid of those things before you jump into another relationship, right? Would that be one of the advices that you would give?
It's an old cliche. So I hear, it's so weird because you hear two things. There are two things that you're going to hear. It's you should always kind of dissolve one situation before, close one chapter before opening a new. So you hear that, right? And then, in our community, what we also hear is, to get over one, you get under another one.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
So
that's the best way to get rid of one person. You go get your another.
What do you really do? Do you do the first? Do you do the latter part? So I think it just depends. And let me just say this: the entanglements shouldn't really matter. The things that need to be rid of and the things that need to be dealt with is relationships, like, on some real sugar honey iced tea.
So if you're just screwing with somebody, that that could be cut off. But if you like somebody,
like if you just just giving somebody your box or whatever,
you'll be adults.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You could just say, listen, I'm not giving you no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may get some fatal attraction types, but you can just say, listen, I'm not give you more. It is what it is. I met somebody. Go on. We got to understand and move.
Right.
But when you have a relationship where there's time invested,
right?
You have to deal with that.
You have to close that chapter.
Yeah, you have to close because, and another thing I think that you and I didn't do is that we weren't very honest with each other about those relationships.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, the one thing that I told you I dated you for and I wanted you for is because you just be on some real stuff.
Right.
And I consider myself to be the same, just being on some real stuff. So, but when it came to having to disappoint each other or to...
We didn't want to do that. So we lied to each other.
Yeah. So to keep from disappointing or hurting each other's feelings, we were just on some line.
We wasn't on the honest about what we had going on.
Not just dishonest. We were just on some line stuff. Like, and then what I would say to you is, no, I'm not lying. You just didn't ask me.
Right.
You didn't ask, so I didn't tell you. But of course, whenever you would ask, I was like, oh yeah, this happened.
Yeah, but I guess that's a form of lying if you're not being honest.
No, come on, y'all.
It's
I guess
it's a form of not being truthful, not really lying.
No, because I feel that information can be withheld. Like you don't voluntarily provide information. You know what I'm saying?
What would you call that?
If you just don't volunteer to tell information,
Yeah.
you just don't tell information. You're just not telling.
But I guess it is. It's unfaithful because you're doing
It's not,
something.
the act makes it unfaithful.
Right. You're actually doing something that you didn't tell your partner about. So
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So the act makes it unfaithful.
Right.
What I was trying to get you to understand is, because you would tell me, oh, so you did this too? Oh, you ain't telling me that.
Yeah.
Hell, you didn't ask me. But then when you asked me, I'd be like, yeah, that happened. Yeah, I did
true.
that.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that I didn't perceive that to be a form of lying. I just took it as you didn't ask.
Yeah.
But when you asked, I gave you what I felt like was my truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think I just think that's withholding information. Like, you know, who's gonna tell on themselves?
Right.
If your mama have a jar of cookies in the kitchen and come out the kitchen and ask all three of y'all sitting in the living room, like, which one of y'all kids got this cookies? You gonna be like, Mom, I got the cookie.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You're gonna stand there and be like, man, I don't know. Especially if there's no evidence. There's no chocolate chip around my mouth. There's no chocolate on my hand. I don't know who did it. So that's a form of dishonesty.
Right. Okay. Okay. I'm there.
But it's not calling somebody a lie if I
They
didn't
don't ask the
volunteer.
question
No.
about it. So going back to the question, just being honest. Honest is one of the things when you say the difference of an entanglement in a relationship. Just being honest about where you are and what you have going on with each other, your mate, the person that you're potentially dating, the person that you're trying not to date. Just being honest about the whole ordeal.
Yeah.
What do you say to people that say to us, they're not over it?
They're not over what?
The cheating. It'll happen again. What do you say to those naysayers that say they on here telling their business
But we hadn't really told any business there. All y'all know is we just had some moments of infidelity.
And that's probably at the end of the day, we're not going to name names.
Oh no, we're never going to name names.
We're going to say we had infidelity. You don't have to, to tell what you did and what you did. We had infidelity, and people know what that means. For sure. But what do you say to the people that say it's not over? Catch her on the right day. Catch him on the right day. It's not over.
I mean, you should have just done some real stuff. Yeah, I should have got the getting when the getting was good, because the getting is over. And let me just say this. And I know that we kind of early on said that, you don't really cheat because there are moments of infidelity because of what your mate did, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it is revenge. Sometimes there is a such thing as revenge cheating.
Right.
And so what I do know is, just to say, and people could think the only people that would know anything about my infidelities would be the people that I had the infidelities with. Right. Maybe one close friend. I have a friend that I, confide in. Yeah. But maybe my friend, but
it wasn't public.
It was not public.
Yeah.
So to the public, it was B-Level doing her so wrong. B-Level out here real foul. Like he's just out here real foul. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm sitting up here looking like a duck because people just think you just out here on some foul stuff. Right. Not knowing, he's not the only one being foul. Right. My stuff is just not public. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I was getting ready to ask you. Does that is there a difference?
There is a difference.
There's a difference. Do you see, because people know about mine and they didn't know about yours, do you see that being different?
Oh, absolutely.
Is cheating not cheating regardless?
Man, listen, I promise you, we just told our kids this the other day. What happens in our house stays in our house. Right. So when there is, and here's what I always try to get you to understand. Here, you are what could be considered as a local celebrity because of, who you are. You've been a radio personality, club owner, blah, blah, blah. People want people that's going to deal with you are going to want two things. Okay. And people, let's go back. You said female? Women. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Women that are going to that happen to be your mistresses, because all of them were your mistresses prior to, unless it was prior to we got married. Okay. So women that were okay with being your mistresses wanted two things, right? Right. They wanted other people to know that they were your mistresses.
Okay. Right.
And then at some point when it was over, They wanted to make sure I knew that they were your mistress.
Okay.
Women, that isn't the same with me.
So that wasn't with you. They didn't want
No,
the husband
absolutely
to know. They didn't
not.
want me to know.
Absolutely not.
They
Not
did want you.
Not saying that it's not saying that, I'm not as, as equal to you as it relates to the community thing. Not saying to that. I'm just saying that women in our moments of infidelity, you will never, ever, ever know. Ever
Well,
know.
I mean, I think that's the truth. I mean,
Yeah,
you guys
you
are
would
gonna
never,
move
ever
way
know.
differently than we're gonna
Absolutely.
move.
And so when I'm saying,
But I do believe that I think cheating and infidelity is cheating and infidelity.
cheating. Let me just say this.
It's no
Cheating is cheating. So
Right.
let me just put this on the table. Cheating is cheating is cheating.
right.
The worst thing you can, so just like you said, as a man, men can say, okay, my girl cheated on me, gave the box away or whatever. I just can't do it. You know what I'm saying? For a woman, the worst of things that a man can do is embarrass them.
Right.
And embarrassment comes from the other woman wanting people to know.
Right.
And also, if you choose to give her information about your mate.
Right.
Because what women don't understand is men are going to speak negatively about their current mate to their girl they're trying to screw on because they're trying to get in your drawers.
Right.
So they want you to feel like,
You got a chance.
no. Men want women to feel like, my girl ain't worth nothing. She's not doing anything. She don't cook for me. She don't do such and such and such, because that's a plea. That's a plea to
Lower their standards and be your mistress.
get in your drawers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they get to, she won't cook for you.
Right.
And then once I find out that they're dealing with you, first thing they would say, well, he told me you don't cook for him.
Right.
Girl, do you believe that?
Yeah.
But of course, you have to, men always tell their mistresses the worst of things about their mate, whether true or untrue, just because they're trying to screw.
Right.
Just because, that's just on some real stuff.
Right.
We don't do that.
Right.
We don't
So what
do
do y'all
that.
do when y'all cheat?
What?
What the hell do y'all do when y'all cheat?
What?
You
We cheat.
understand?
What the hell? We cheat.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you do different?
Listen, women are emotional creatures. And let me just say this. One thing I know about you is this. And that's why
You don't tell my business.
Yeah,
Okay,
let me just say this. If anybody would have ever came to me and told me, you dumb, you stupid, because be level to paying my bills, but you lying. Like, you're not a trick. Let me just say this.
Nah, I'm not. I've never been.
So they may get
I've never been a trick.
listen. They may get a club outfit. They may get a $30 tab at the bar. They may get a free admission for them and their friend.
Right.
But you ain't doing all that.
I ain't getting that paperwork.
No, because
Right.
once listen, that money come up missing. That's a whole different conversation. So let me just say that enjoy your time. As all I listen. I wanted people to understand. Listen, enjoy your time with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, get what you, get what you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Let him tell you the worst of me if that's what he got to do to get your draws. That's fine. But I'm just telling you that we don't operate like that. We
Right.
on some different stuff.
Right. And
We be on some different stuff.
yeah, I mean, and that's true. And so the whole experience bring you back to it's humbling.
Absolutely.
It's very humbling for both of us. It was soul searching. Do we really want to stay in this? Do we want to put in the work
That was hard.
that we need to do? We understand that we had both violated the trust. So, how do we know that the cheating was not going to continue?
We did not know.
We didn't know. We have to go with our heart. We have to rededicate ourselves to our marriage, to our family. We had more than just, and I said this to you all the time, it was more than just you and I pulling on us to work.
Yeah.
We have 7 babies. I ain't really tripping off everybody else.
Yeah.
But the 7 kids that we had that took a little time to blend, it blended, were depending on us to figure this out. They were really relying on us to make this work.
Yeah.
So it was a bunch of praying. It was a bunch of fasting. It was a bunch of us breaking up, us, me being told I'm done. I don't know that I ever quit you, but I promise you, I've been quit.
You quit. Yeah, you quit me.
I can't. I really don't. That I
quit me?
really don't.
Yeah, you quit
I don't think I've ever.
You've been
and
on
I don't
some.
want to.
All right, I'm done. Yeah, buddy. You quit me.
But
twice.
I was quit daily. It was daily. I'm done. But we were able to come out on the other side, and I truly believe this. This year would be 7 years for us. We've got about 6 or 7 minutes left in this episode. I truly believe that God put you on this earth to be my wife. I was sick recently, about 2 weeks ago. I tested positive for COVID-19 2 weeks ago, and you nursed me back to life. I thought I was going to die. Those are the type of things that I took for granted. Never will I ever do that again. And I say that publicly. Never will I ever cheat again, because when you cheat, it breaks the strength of your relationship down.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you don't have trust, it's hard to make it past. It's hard. Most people don't get on the other side of the infidelity issues and be able to push past it. And so I'm thankful and I'm grateful that both of us felt the need to push past it, and we're still work in progress.
Absolutely.
We're not perfect.
Yeah.
We still argue. We still don't talk. I started promising myself before I got married. Everybody has this cliche: we ain't gonna go to bed mad at each other. That's a damn lie. We go to bed a lot of nights mad at each other.
Yeah.
We go to bed a lot of nights mad at each other, but God is still working on us.
Absolutely.
He still has us together working on this thing for a reason and a purpose.
Absolutely.
And so I'm so grateful for the opportunity to a do-over. I'm so appreciative that you could have dropped me, you could have thrown it away and stepped away. I'm so appreciative for the opportunity to make it right. And so I publicly apologize for my infidelities. I think I've done that to you. I don't know that I've ever did it publicly, but the first podcast, I apologize for you lying to you, lying to God, and not doing my part in making this relationship work.
Yeah. I will say that because there's a lot of young women that reach out to me for advice on things, and what you guys, as I said, there's a lot of you that didn't know that he and I were going through anything, and that's not for you to know.
Right.
We just decided to do this now for just the blessing of others. So what I will say is, every situation is different. There is no cookie cutter, no cookie cutter marriage, no cookie cutter person. What I decided to do with my husband is my marriage is kind of my thing. What you choose to do is yours. So I'm never ever going to tell anybody to stay in a situation and just don't. I think the thing that we do is say, just stay in it. It'll get better. It'll get better. That's an individual decision. That was just my decision to do so. I decided to stay in it because I decided to stay in it for the reason I got in it. And that was not to really give up. So I haven't done that. And again, I've spoken on my infidelities. And so, again, too, so I apologize for mine, the ones that, any of them, I apologize for that, because I have to know that even though it wasn't public, it was still in a form of embarrassment for you. So even though people didn't know and now they know, I apologize for that for you. But I will say this is absolutely something that we've gotten over to the other side on. And I jokingly said this other, but I mean it so wholeheartedly that you guys should have really got the getting. You guys should have really
we giving it out.
Yeah, you guys should have really got the getting when the getting was good, because it is over. He and I both have seen each other through some very hurtful times, some sleepless nights, some, listen, I'm the pull-up queen. I don't pull up no more, but
you pulled up the spots.
Yeah, I pull up.
Poker.
Pull up, and I don't pull up anymore.
Club.
But like we have, we've absolutely been through the ringer, and so to not only see what it did and does for us, even though we tried to protect our children from a lot of it, they could feel the animosity in the home. So please be careful to, if you're in just a miserable situation that you feel like is going to be conducive, and you have children, think about them if nobody else, because that's what we've had to do. So yeah.
And if you don't want to work, don't get married. Don't get married. Marriage is work.
It is something else. It is a
work.
job.
I'm not going to say it's hard, but it's work.
It's a job. It is a job.
If you don't want to work, stay booze, stay boyfriend and girlfriends.
Don't get married.
Don't get married. Because any married person that's been married for any length of time, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, will tell you that it's work. One of the things that Rev. O.D., my uncle, told us is it required divine maintenance.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
It's a divine ordinance, but it requires divine maintenance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And 7 years later, here we are, still maintenance our marriage.
And will forever. Yes.
You're gonna forever work on it.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna forever keep trying.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna make mistakes. Never be able to not say I'm sorry for the mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Never be able to go to your partner, and the worst thing that you want to do is let your partner down, but you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna do some wrong things.
Yeah.
And so never be afraid to go by and apologize and say, I did that wrong. Please accept my apology and learn from it. Mm-hmm. And don't keep going through the same thing and expect different results because they say you're stupid. So we've got about 3 more minutes.
They say you're stupid.
Yeah, that's what is that? You do the same thing, expect different results.
Well, what an apology really means is that, I can't really think of a time where you really apologize, but one of the things that an apology is just changed behavior. So even if you had put "I'm sorry" on, a brand new Rolls Royce,
you got to change behavior behind it.
Change behavior is what it is. So, absolutely. So, I have seen such. We are climbing this mountain. As I said, this is one thing that we have definitely put behind us. Like, this is done. That is done.
Dead.
That is dead. Like,
that's why we're able to talk about it.
Because if it was
it.
still fresh and if it was still some hurt and resentment, you guys would not, like, I would be up here pulling my little lash extensions off, and I'm not. So there, it is not. That's something that we're not going through and dealing with again. Once again, marriage is absolutely it's something to be in. Right. It's a lifelong partner, but understand what comes with having a lifelong partner. It takes maintenance, it takes works, it takes prayer, it takes a lot. So just make sure that you have the right person to go along this ride with you, because it's a ride. Right. It is a ride. So, they say if you're not this tall, don't get on this ride.
You got to be this tall to ride this ride.
If you're not that tall, don't get on that ride.
All right, so this is going to be a weekly podcast. We want you to download and subscribe to our podcast, Love Wins by the Steward is the name of the podcast. Our YouTube channel is going to be Brian Stewart. This video will live on Brian Stewart, the YouTube channel. Shout out to Club Empire. We're in the Club Empire studio. Shout out to my guy Q Note, who's producing this thing. And if you want to be a guest before we leave, please give them our email to be a guest, to sponsor the thing, to get us to do ad libs for your company. Give them that information.
Yes, if you want to be a guest on the show, if you have any content you would like for us to discuss, if you want us to advertise for your business, please send us an email at stewart.lovewins@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Facebook, Shanetta Stewart or Brian Stewart. Also, just use the email. Email is probably a better means of communication. Stewart.lovewins@gmail.com. It's on my phone, so I check it pretty regularly. So go to stewart.lovewins@gmail.com and send us an email for one of the above.
I think we got past the first episode.
Absolutely.
We're still together.
We're not gonna do the what at Will and Jada too.
We're going on vacation.
We're not doing that. All right, y'all.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Out of here.